I haven't made a blanket fort since I was a kid, unless you count the ones I've made for my cats. But the time has come. Blanket fort is happening. Welcome to the wild. I'm Cypress, and I recently experienced a brutal epiphany about myself. This fort project is part of how I'm dealing with it. But more on that later. Right now, let's build a blanket fort. This is my office daybed. It's very handy for brainstorming, outlining, and the occasional nap. And I want to convert this space into my blanket fort. And yes, I'm leaving the Hamsa and the Eye of the Goddess right there. It's good vibes. Now, I'm setting up a more permanent structure than just an old blanket thrown over a folding table. I want to be able to leave this up for as long as I want. So the first step is to find the middle of the daybed and mark that on the ceiling. Hopefully, your tape measure stays more rigid than mine. Next, for the main support beam, I found an old curtain rod for about $1 at the Goodwill. It's supposed to be maybe 8 foot long, but it comes apart in the center, and I was able to take the finial from one end and attach it to the other end. And bam! A short 4-foot rod. And I lucked out. The rod was just short enough to miss the ceiling fan. Whew! For the walls of my blanket fort, you may recognize this fabric. It's those giant orange curtains I found a while back. I guess using curtains is kind of cheating if we're calling it a blanket fort. But that didn't really occur to me until I was halfway through the project, so oh well. It's gonna be awesome, and you can certainly adapt and adjust for what materials you have on hand. Now, to connect the curtains to the curtain rod, I happen to have an extra set of shower curtain rings, which fit very nicely into the hardware slots on the backs of the curtain panels. I just had to count it all out to know how far apart to space each ring. And then I used some other shower curtain rings I had laying around that I can use to hoist the whole curtain rod up on ceiling hooks. Then it was just a matter of getting some hooks into the ceiling. I went with what I had, which were these standard brass-colored ones you probably have a dozen or more of already in your ceiling. They're not the heaviest duty, but they're strong enough to hold a couple curtains indefinitely. And now, it gets serious. I used a power drill to make holes for the hooks. First, I drilled pilot holes, and if you hit a stud, good for you, you can just screw the hook in. But of course, I went right through the drywall and had to switch to a bigger bit. Even then, the holes needed a little coaxing to take the hook hardware. This step can be messy. Once the hook hardware slips through, twist while pulling down until the hook sits snugly against the ceiling. This will take one full eternity per hook. With both hooks installed, it was easy peasy to lift the whole assembly up onto the hooks. Now we're nearly there. I could have left it with just the curtains, but where's the fun in that? I have these other orange shears I use for props. I can't use them as regular curtains because reasons. I decided to pin the shears up to the front, kind of like an entry screen. It was too cumbersome to film myself actually doing this, but there was no real system. I just kind of eyeballed it until I had a tent flap I could close. So long, outside world. This is looking so awesome, but there's still something missing. Oh, I know. Lights! The smart thing to do here would be to use LEDs, but I don't have any of those, so we're going with the fire hazard Christmas lights. Now, I don't want to brag or anything, but I'd say a good 60% of these lights still work. I have no idea what the best way to string these lights up is, but I just tucked them in behind the pillows and ran them over the curtain rod and... Hi, Kat, what are you doing? You gonna sabotage filming? Why don't you come here? Hi. I don't think you're quite showing on the camera. I'm almost done here. If you want to sit quietly, I'll be done in a minute. I have no idea what the best way to string these lights up is. I'll just have to remember not to leave these on for very long at a time. Or it might be worth going out and picking up a string of LED lights and not having a house fire. But I think it looks great. This is my perfect little hideaway. The cats aren't really sure what to think yet. This is just so cool. It's perfect for indoor camping, sleepovers, or just cocooning in on a rainy day. I've made this fort to be my own personal sacred space, a place of meditation. And that brings us to my recent brutal self-realization. If you're not here for the internal self-help machinations, now would be a good time to skip to the assessment timestamp. It's okay. I get it. You were just here for ideas for little Susie's upcoming sleepover with all her friends, and you were not signing up for shadow work. But if you're here for it, this is what happened. I was minding my own business, just trying to be an enlightened and divine soul. You know, the usual. And it seemed like every guided meditation I was listening to started with the direction to get centered. Find center. First, center. And I realized that this was agitating me. Like a lot. Like the narrator would say, now, find your center. And, fine. If I have to. And I did stop and wonder to myself, why am I agitated? Why does centering seem like such a big ask? Why does the thought of it make me feel tired? Shouldn't it be the most relaxing and peaceful thing in the world, actually? But once I looked at it, the answer came very quickly. For as long as I've been meditating, I have not actually been finding my center. If you have early childhood trauma, you may already know where I'm going with this. I arrived in this world in a situation where I just wasn't safe. Like, full stop. And that has been a primary feature of all my original programming that I'm trying to untangle. So whenever I've imagined finding center, there's not a part of my psyche that was prepared to do that. Instead, every time, it's like my spirit is crouching, weapons in hand, ready to take on any attack from any direction. Somehow, I managed to conflate the idea of finding center with getting centered for a 360-degree attack. No wonder I don't find that relaxing. What I've decided is that I need to reprogram this particular brain bug, and to do that, I need to be able to get to my real center. And since my problem is the early childhood threat of violence, attack, interruption, ridicule, whatever, I need a space where I can slip away from the possibility of anything from the outside world reaching me. Now, my house is very well warded, but this isn't about actual threats. This is about my baby brain perceiving the possibility of a threat, and that's what we need to override. So, this blanket fort here is meant to serve as a little comfy temple of the self, a turtle shell, a magical, safe space. What's more, the curtains I used, if you'll remember from the shopping haul video I did a while back, are covered in a sunburst pattern, which for me means Sekhmet. So I am effectively shrouding myself, enveloping myself in the mantle, the energy, the powerful protection of Sekhmet. And I can use that imagery to convince my overactive protection instincts to just take a beat and let me actually relax. Like, genuinely relax in a way I have literally never done by myself. Ever. Ever. And I wonder why I'm tired all the time. So, I plan on chilling in here and doing some formal meditations and seeing how it goes. But even without all of that, this is just the coolest little space. And I love that it can stay up as long as I want it to. It can be very open or very closed off with just the flick of some fabric. Right now, I have it pulled back with some old 80s hair clips. Autumn is coming before long. It's late August here at filming, and I suspect this will hold in my body heat fairly well. I may have to camp out here for real on those cold nights. It's a little dark for reading and writing, but that would be easy to solve with one of those little lights that can clip onto the headboard. And if I leave this up a while, which is very likely, I'll probably just go get some LED lights and switch them out. Now I kind of want to do something like this to my actual bed. This is so much fancier than those little mesh nets you can get and hang up. Anyway, I hope you found this video fun or helpful. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. For now, keep your magical blanket forts wild. No? Did I just get rejected? While pulling down until those internal self-help I decided to pit. Oh man. Late summer allergies. Wrong way.